Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're getting into a really potent book, Chris Hedges' American Fascists, The Christian Right and the War on America. It's definitely controversial.
Highly controversial. It forces a look at uncomfortable parallels.
Exactly. Our mission today isn't about agreeing or disagreeing with his, well, pretty charged thesis. It's about giving you the structure of his argument. We want to distill the key claims he makes, those connections he alleges between the radical Christian right and 20th century fascism.
And it's important to know where Hedges is coming from. He's not just anyone sounding off. He's a Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist and a divinity scholar. So he's using that background to argue this movement. Well, it harbors characteristics of fascism and is a genuine threat to American democracy. It's a serious indictment.
Okay, so let's zero in on the most confrontational claim, that the Christian right is a direct ideological heir of 20th century fascism. That's huge. How does he actually back that up?
Well, Hedges focuses less on, say, the uniforms or outward symbols people might expect. It's more about the underlying ideology. He argues this mix of religious fundamentalism, intense nationalism, and, authoritarian thinking creates something that really resembles the young fascist movements in Italy and Germany in the 1920s and 1930s.
Resembles how, though? What are those shared traits he points to?
Things like a cult of tradition, a rejection of modernism, this belief in a single God-given national destiny, that kind of philosophical core.
Right, okay. But ideology needs infrastructure to gain power. What does Hedges say about their concrete goals? How do they try to exert control?
Well, the big one he identifies is dismantling the separation of church and state, basically replacing civil law with religious doctrine. And the methods are comprehensive. You've got huge media networks, but also, crucially, this whole parallel system of Christian schools, designed specifically to push this one vision.
And you can't talk power without talking money. Fascist movements always needed allies. What link does Hedges make to, say, corporate power?
Yeah, he calls it an uneasy and dangerous partnership. It's between the movement and powerful, conservative, even industrial interests. It's practical. Corporate America offers money, lobbying power, political muscle.
And in return,
Shared policy goals, often things like deregulation, lower taxes. Hedges sees this blend of religious passion and corporate backing as one of the real defining dangers.
Okay, this next part about handling opposition is fascinating. He brings in a theoretical framework here.
Right, he uses Umberto Eco's idea of fascism, like the timeless features of fascism, regardless of the era. And a key part of that is how it treats dissent. Eco's point is stark. For fascism, disagreement is treason. There's just no room for questioning or pluralism.
Wow. Disagreement is treason, and that feeds directly into this anti-intellectual element Hedges talks about. He warns that, in this view, thinking is a form of emasculation.
Exactly. The idea is action being beautiful in itself, it must be taken before or without reflection. It reveals this real disdain for questioning things, for complex thought. Reflection just gets in the way. It complicates the pure, immediate action they value.
Okay, so it's a pretty bleak picture he paints.
Yeah.
But the book doesn't just diagnose the problem, it offers, well, an antidote.
Yeah.
He talks about hope.
Yes, but it's a very specific kind of hope. It's not just wishful thinking. It requires personal risk. He defines it as nonviolent rebellion.
Nonviolent rebellion.
Which leads to that really memorable quote, the one you see shared a lot. I do not fight fascists because I will win. I fight fascists because they are fascists. The act of resistance itself becomes the point, the moral victory. He argues this kind of hope actually gets more potent when things look more futile.
So bringing this all together for you listening, Hedges' book, whether you accept its premise or not, offers these frameworks, tools to understand religious authoritarianism and maybe see those counterintuitive links to classical fascism, he points out.
And it leaves us with a really challenging thought. If this ideology, as Hedges describes it, sees basic disagreement as treason, well, how do you personally cultivate critical thinking? How do you support civil pluralism in your own life and community? That's the tough question, isn't it? How do we defend democracy when faced with something that demands total unquestioning loyalty?